Hello, my name is Mark Silverberg from Acaville, and I am here with Wilson Smith and Sean Murphy. They are from the Pitchmen, and if you know that name, if you don't know that name, then you're a bad a cappella fan. But if you do know that name, you know why I'm here. So, first, how does it feel to be here at the Indie A Cappella Festival?
It's great. This is being hosted by Warren Central High School, and I've been working with 16th Street Soul, their headlining group, for 3 years now. This is my third season with them, so I've built a really good relationship with Brian and Kelsey and these folks, and I just think they're always very hospitable and considerate of what other groups are going to be looking for and what phase of their growth and in their school year within the smaller context they're in. So I think they've done a great job at getting some great clinicians in the building and preparing a great offering. And how can you complain about Take 6?
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah. What is this your first time doing clinician?
I've worked with 16th Street before, but This is my first time working at a festival.
A festival? Oh, okay. Yeah. And how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I love it. There's a lot of young groups here, a lot of groups that have only been around for a few years. So I think this is a really cool space for them. It's a very safe space. It's not one of those competition festivals either. It's just go out and sing and do well. And I'm so excited to work with these kids. They're all super eager. I just had a bunch of kids in here learning vocal percussion for the first time, and everyone was doing it. It was awesome. It was really cool.
So you just graduated from Pitchmen? Is that?
I just did.
I graduated in 2022. Sean graduated this past season in 2023.
Okay. And tell me about the ICCA. Give me your thoughts, your experiences.
You or me, how long we got?
Yeah. First off, what was it like to develop that set?
Sure. Why don't I get it started? Go back a little. You pick it up when we get to this.
Absolutely.
So I joined the Pitchmen in the fall of 2018. At that time, Pitchmen was a very casual ensemble. There were a couple of other really established groups on our campus that were highly competitive and winning awards and putting out recordings and all those sorts of things. We were just kind of the goofy guys group that sang Sail with kazoos and, did goofy stuff like that. So the group was in a very different place when I joined it, but even though I was a music major and I had my sights set on a career in music, I still loved the community and the camaraderie that I found, and they were my immediate best friends freshman year. So there's kind of a group of 5 or 6 of us my age that said, look, we all love hanging out with each other. We want to stay here. So but for this to be sustainable and keep going and to retain good membership, we're going to have to rethink the structure a little bit and get more serious and, start really thinking about the music we want to perform and use custom arrangements and plan our sets and not just, pick from this massive Google Drive of terrible sheet music from decades and decades, And so I feel like my 3 years in the group from my sophomore through senior year, it was kind of putting those structures in place. And so we had this audition class with Sean come in, my sophomore year, and that core of his grade and my grade was kind of 12 or 13 guys that stuck together for 3 years and made up kind of what the Pitchmen is. And for that 3 years, I am really proud of the music we made, and we did a full album in 2021, made it to finals in 2020. We were the only American group to qualify, and then COVID
I heard
shut down the tournament.
I heard that poor story.
We have that fun fact, and then we participated my senior year and just kind of kept coming up short at every phase, and it felt like we had this opportunity to go to finals in 2020, but throughout my tenure, it just never kind of fully realized where we felt like we got that opportunity that we earned back and had the chance to kind of get that thing that we've been working towards for so long. And so it was my time to leave the group, and I've been music directing for 3.5 years, and I feel like this past year was both kind of closing off that era of guys that invested this and built this in, but also transitioning Pitchmen into kind of a new era and a new identity. So I'll let Sean speak a little more about last year and what that looked like.
Yeah. So, that 2020 year, we're sitting there like, oh man, that was the lightning in a bottle year.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we got this amazing audition class again, and I knew we wanted to compete. The guys were competitive, and I was like, well, there's no one else we're going to have arranged it than Wilson. So me, Wilson, and our president, Sean Dean, at the time, and then he also choreographed our set. We dreamt up our amazing set that did really, really well at all levels. We were really
I'll say.
I feel like Sean Dean kind of came up with the concept. He saw this spaceship dance troupe thing on the internet and was like, I want to do that.
Yeah. I was going to ask, where's the origin of it?
He literally saw this dance troupe, and I wish Sean Dean was here so he could tell you what it was, but it was like this kind of b-boy, 16 dudes vibe, and they were doing all this very robotic, jerky choreo, and there was this moment where they all got together and made a spaceship. And Sean was like, I think this is the moment. I think it just sparked kind of an aesthetic for him, and he kind of knew, he didn't know what songs he wanted, and he maybe didn't necessarily know how it was all going to pull together, but he knew that it was an aesthetic he could work with, right? And so then I feel like Sean was kind of like our find the rep guy. Like Sean he's a trombonist, he's a singer, he sings in a variety of genres, he VPs, he does everything. And so he knows the music, he knows what's out there, and I feel like Sean kind of put the playlist together and said, this would be 15 or 20 good options. And me, as you can tell by the way I talk, I'm the analytical one that overthinks everything. And so then I sit and kind of sift through that list and go, I think I could arrange the crap out of this song. I don't think this is going to translate super well. If we do this song, we probably shouldn't do this song so they achieve similar things. And I feel like I kind of pieced together the details.
Yeah, for sure. I also just like with what we had that year, I thought let's set this up. Let's make it not a story, but just like a concept, and make sure everything is packed in there, full 10 minutes. We had Chris, an amazing soloist at the end. I know we had to bring the house down at the end with him. We had Rob, he was just a phenomenal performer, had to give him the energetic one. And we had Elijah and Jared, and we had a bunch of other people audition for these soloists that would have nailed it. And it was just like, it was a star-studded cast, and it couldn't have been better.
We wanted something conceptual and that had a strong aesthetic, and I feel like our goal was, let's do like a 6-minute space montage. Like, let's make sure that the audience is in this world. It's just all entertaining all the time in your face.
I'm curious, when you pitched that to the group, what was the... Wait, what?
Right. I would say Pitchmen has always been elect your leaders and then trust your leaders to make good calls, benevolent dictatorship type of structure. We always have a leadership team of 5 or 6 people in place, but honestly, like a lot of the guys in our group, they're songwriters, they're artists, they're studying music education to become these are busy people that have a lot of different musical interests, and I feel like it's a group that's really good about just kind of leaving the ego at the door and going, hey, this is our idea, we want to try this, all right, let's go. Do I need to study aliens? Do I need to, they're just kind of ready to go, and they kind of have that understanding that if we all just put our minds towards the same thing, lock in that goal, we can work towards it and do something cool together. So
yeah, it's interesting when you say about song selection, because Acaville TV has this show called The Winning Edge, and we talk about how to advance yourself in competitions, and we were just talking about song selection, and it's funny that you come up with the songs, you come up with the list, and then you just pick.
Kind of.
It
was an amalgamation of things. Yeah.
But that's very different than I think a lot of
roles, right? Like I just trust. So since I'm an arranger and I write 100 charts a year, I don't really listen to music very much when I'm not arranging. Like I listen to music all day for 8 hours. I write it down. I think about it very carefully, and then why would I want to listen to more music after that, right? And so I feel like he's just very in the know with like what's coming out and who's cool right now, and who are some Nashville scene bands that we can maybe find some unique programming from. But I just feel like I've always had a knack for like the details and finding the cut and going, we don't need this third verse, we don't need this whatever. And I just think that's how my brain works. I kind of see it as a puzzle, and he's got the good puzzle pieces.
I really liked how we brought together, we built the scene, right, with Contact at the beginning, and then we took relevant, Silk Sonic, right, relevant pieces, things that are good, and then we revamped Cosmic Girl, Jamiroquai, and then we had such success with that nostalgic sound of I Have Nothing in 2020 that I was like, we need something like that again, and we have this A soloist, so why not give him something huge again? We get all by myself fit perfectly.
The idea was kind of like, we're going to do 6 minutes of space, and we're going to hit this theme hard, and then we're going to flip the whole thing on its head and explore space as a concept rather than a setting or an aesthetic. And I think it was really effective for 6 minutes for people to see the guy group doing the guy group thing. I don't think Pitchmen tries to hide or be overly artsy. I think they embrace a slightly goofier, casual nature, but it's really legit singing within that, and it kind of is like people just, I think they get a vibe that it's a very unique guy group compared to a lot of things they see. And so that final selection in the set, even though it wasn't totally on the nose with the space stuff, we felt like this is a way to explore this idea in a different way, and it's just going to totally flip the effect on its head. I don't think anyone was prepared for that type of power ballad to close the
you
set.
ended with a ballad.
Yeah.
I mean, that...
We were just talking about this.
I think that's one of the best builds, in my opinion. If you've got the guys to do it, if you've got the people to do it, I think that like if you set a scene and you groove and you vibe, and then it gives it this arc, right? And you bring the house down. I think it plays out like a movie that way. You know what I mean?
In my brain, the up-tempo stuff is what you do. The ballad is what you say. And for me, when I'm watching a group, I often don't feel that a 3-minute opener is enough time for me to get to know that group and to get to know what they're about and what their default is. So then to go straight into this super emotional moment after I've only gotten to know you for 3 minutes, sometimes it just doesn't sit right with me if you don't nail it or if you don't have another gear to take it to for your closer. So I think for us, we felt like we could really show what we do in that first 6 minutes and kind of earn the attention to hear what we have to say.
That's really interesting. It's almost like it's a 6-minute opener.
That's kind of how we thought
And
of it.
then the closer just never happened because you ran out of time,
That's kind
cut it off.
of that's kind of how we thought of it. So I like what Sean said about it being a movie. Like, I just think you hear 10 acapella sets at an ICCA or an ICHSA
Right.
competition, right? And that's 2.5 hours of acapella music. And if we're all just being honest about ourselves, there are 2 or 3 groups that will catch our attention, and then we go, gosh, I just listened to 2.5 hours of acapella music. That's a group I don't quite remember what they did or whatever. And I just think the ballad at the end, it's a good way, like, you give them 6 minutes to get to know you and what you do, and then tell them what you have to say and maybe what your more emotional tie on this set is, or your theme, or your driving message.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Did
really
you know? Did you know when you were doing the set? Were you like, this is a winner?
I think we felt great about it. I think we all felt really confident in it the whole time. But I mean, just as anyone who's music directed a group knows, you never know how that's going to translate to the judge sheet. You never know. I mean, at quarterfinals, a judge put them in second place, and they were pretty much first place sweeps at semifinals. They I think had a couple seconds at finals, but like at their quarterfinal round, they had a second place vote. So I think just always keeping in mind, like, we felt like we had a winner, felt great about it, but like anything can happen when it comes down to what people want to choose to nitpick and analyze and what every judge's preferences are and those things like that. So I don't know. I don't think we counted our chickens before they hatched, because we have dealt with disappointment and not winning competitions we thought we might win. But we certainly felt really good about it. Once we picked the set, we never altered from it, and that was what we were committed to.
That's really, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry we're out of time, but thank you. This is Wilson and Sean from the Pitchmen, and this is for Acaville. All right, thanks,
Thank you, guys.